I'm at a place called Korazim. It's one of three places, one of three cities that Jesus cursed: Bethsaida, Capernaum, and Korazim. Korazim is now a ruin. So is Capernaum, so is Bethsaida. They're just gone. And when he curses something, it truly stays cursed. But there's something interesting about this place. This synagogue that was here, of which this is a part of the synagogue, is a Byzantine synagogue. It means late Roman, sometime after the time of Constantine. Now, I'm going to jump tracks here and frame this up a little bit. Jesus, in his letter to the church at Thyatira in Revelation, told that church, you're tolerating this woman called Jezebel, and she's brought something into the church, the error or the ways of Balaam. And Balaam had taught the people to sin by bringing idolatry into the camp, knowing that God would curse the people, his own people, judge them and do some terrible things to them if they brought idolatry in the camp. He warned them. He said, I'm telling you, don't do this because there will be a price to pay. And this woman Jezebel was bringing idolatry into the church. Now, this isn't a church, this is a synagogue. But just to give you an idea of how easy this happens to some of the you might say, the godliest law-abiding people in the world, in the synagogue, they have this motif right here. That's Medusa. It's a pagan goddess, the one with the snakes in her hair. You can see the snakes right here in this motif. And they brought this into the synagogue. In fact, there are 7 synagogues that have been unearthed in Israel where they have mosaic floors or this motif here that all have pagan images on it. This is the way that Satan tends to join the church. He's going to introduce something that makes it a little bit more tolerable for the world to accept the church and not reject the church. Let's kind of mold with the ways of the world, and that way we can draw them in. Jesus didn't say draw people in, he said go get them, go out. And as one man said, and I love the way he put it, when he said go, that means don't stay. But it's not about growing the church per se in church growth movements. And I know this sounds very harsh, but it's so true that we are to preach the gospel and Jesus will build his church. It grows according to his will and on its own if we just do what he says. But we don't have to look more like the world in order to appeal to the neighborhood. That's the lesson of Korazim, and sadly, Korazim is a ruin, and so is Capernaum, and so is Bethsaida, and so is Bet Alpha, and so is Bet Sharim, and all of these places where you can find pagan influences that slipped into synagogues of all places.